How about now, Tom? Can you hear me now? I hope. It looks like you can. You know what? I had some computer problems 2 days ago, and I lost. I was still connected. Everything looked like it was working. I was getting no throughput out here for my network, and I had to. I don't know. I did a lot of work. I had a lot of work, a lot of updates, a lot of things going on, and I got it working again. So I'm not surprised that I have a little hiccup. My microphone is right over here. Hello, wherever it is. There it is. Bong. So I'm not surprised. I got a little bit of problems. I'm sorry about that. I'll reset for you. Paper that I'm using is Bao Hong paper. This is the studio paper. It's 140 pound, and it is cold pressed. As always, the paints over here on my right hand side are my M Gram paints, and I'm gonna use mostly, but we're gonna have a few larger areas to do, but I'm gonna mostly be using my King Art brushes that I really like quite a bit. Good. Tom, I'm glad you can hear me. Thank you for joining. I hope you've been having a wonderful week. I'm gonna jump in here real quickly as we're getting started, and I want to start with, I don't know what this is called, the top of whatever's on her head up here. To me, there's some yellows in there, but most of that is this lovely ochre color. So I'm gonna drop in some ochres and some yellows. Maybe not a really cold yellow. I'm going to leave that probably a warmer yellow. So where I want to mix them up a little bit, that's going to be calling on my friend Gamboge. Here it is, and we can mix some of that color in. And I don't want this to be a dark mixture per se. Plenty of water. I'm going to start wet on dry. I like painting wet on dry. Steph, welcome. I'm glad you can hear me too. Steph, I don't recognize your username there. So let me walk you through a few rules of engagement here on my channel. Everything is pretty much open and fair game. I don't mind talking about most things. I don't mind answering questions, whether they be about art or life or myself. And anywhere I don't want to answer a question, I'm just going to say, yeah, I don't think I want to answer that question. And I'm also going to say that, as is often the case, the conversations that you guys start, the audience starts, often ends up being a lot more interesting than whatever it is I'm going to talk about. So I very much enjoy answering questions and talking about whatever it is that you all want to talk about in the evening. I guess maybe the one thing I would say let's stay away from would be politics. Not a big fan of talking politics, kind of even among my family. But on here, I want to be a friendly, all-inclusive place, and so often talking politics means people feel excluded, and I don't want to do that. And I don't think watercolors on a stream, a friendly stream, a having fun on a Wednesday evening is really a place for that anyways. So we're just going to leave that out. But everything else pretty much is fair game. And like I said, I'm dropping in some color here. I probably got too much color in here. I'm hoping that some of this is going to dry and lighten a bit. This gets pretty light over here. One of the things I'm wanting to do more as I progress in my watercolor career, and I've been very open about this, and I would encourage everybody else to do some of this too. Dwayne is here. Welcome back, Dwayne. One of the things I'm trying to do more, and I'm encouraging other people to do more, is to get some color on the page and let the color do what the color does on the page. And part of that is mixing different colors on the page, right? Watercolors and politics do not mix. They do not. They do not They're never going to mix. Nothing about them mixes. So I want to mix my watercolors. I want to mix them on the page. I want to have happy transitions of colors. You know, this happens to be a yellow, right? I've got some darker ochre yellows into lights over here. That's actually pretty yellow here and not very ochre, and way light over here. Darker up here, a little darker spot, a little lighter spot, a little darker spot. I want the mixes. I want the transitions. I want all of those. Those are things that, when it comes down to it, it's going to make your watercolors look that much cooler. It's going to give it that little bit more interest. Excuse me for just one moment. Hold on a second. Okay, I don't know where that has come from, but whoo, I don't want to have something in my throat like that again. That's terrible. Okay, so I've got whatever the top of her bustle is, or whatever this is over here, which means I can't do this part. It also means I can't do this part. What I can do is part of her head here. So let's get a good green going. And I don't know what a good alien green is. I really don't. But that's okay. We're going to figure it out. I'm going to use my favorite phthalo green here, and I'm going to mix a little bit of my cold yellow in there, and that's going to give me this, as a base, this bright kind of neon green color. Let's just see how this looks on her. And I think we're going to be able to, oh, that looks good. That's a good base, right? So as I'm putting this on, I'm trying to think of two things as I'm doing this. Tom, you're saying something is going around. Something has been going around. We've got it down here. Tom lives a little north of me. Got it going around here too, and I don't like it. Whatever it is, who gave it to us all? They can take it back. I'm happy to send it back to whoever. They can have it. I'm trying to do two things here. One is cover the area. And the question, or a question, is, do I have to get really precise around the corners, and do I need to stay within the lines? Kind of, no, maybe. So the outside line, maybe. But I'm going to come back out here with a darker color anyway, so maybe not as important there. And the eyes, maybe not so much, because they're going to be, black. We can paint over those. I am going to go right over the nose here. But the other thing I want to do is start thinking about some shading here. And you see, each time I go back to my palette over here, I'm just adjusting these colors a little bit. But I want to start thinking about shading a little bit, right? Is it darker underneath her chin there? Okay, cool. I can darken that up a little bit. Is it going to be lighter on her forehead? Cool. I can leave that a little bit lighter, right? What can I do on this first layer that's going to set me up for either success, meaning cooler outcomes, or shorter times to paint on my subsequent washes, right? And I don't say that to mean that one of your goals should be to paint for a shorter amount of time. That's not really a goal that we want to strive for, but if you can, we're all busy. If you can do something and it's going to save you 10 minutes, cool. Let's see if we can do that a little bit. And so I want to know, why does that sound like some kind of Depeche Mode or song or something like that? I want to know what everybody's been up to. Last week I had to go and watch a play my family we went to see a Broadway play. A Broadway play. We don't live in New York. I don't live in New York, but it came to our town, and we could get tickets in a very limited run, and it happened to be on Wednesday. So that's why I couldn't be on here last Wednesday. And I'll be happy to talk about that experience if anybody wants to hear about it. But has anybody else been doing anything fun or interesting? I hope you've all been doing something fun or interesting. If not, I'm going to talk about what I've been doing that's fun and interesting. Dwayne and I are going to talk fishing here a little bit. If nobody else has anything to talk about. Because Dwayne, I had a couple of interesting days out there. The cough is the worst. The cough is the worst. I don't like to I'm okay being sick, but coughing, you're right. Not a lot of fun. Okay. Couple of things here. As I'm looking at this, I like the direction her face is going, by the way. I love that pop. I want that bright green as a first layer. We can always tone it down in subsequent layers. But I got some light, I hope I didn't touch that. I got some lighter areas here. I got a few darker areas under here. So we're already starting to build up a little layer, and it's nice and bright. It's going to be a great base for us. But when I'm looking at this, I notice that this and this are roughly the same color. I probably could have painted these together. I didn't. It's not really going to matter, but I probably could have. What was the play? I've been busy with work and looking forward to the next week and spring break. So the play that we went to see was Book of Mormon. And probably not for everybody. And there was quite a bit more swearing in it than I thought there would be. But it was riotously funny. And it, of course, has played to huge audiences all over the place. I totally understand it now. And I'm not really a person who's wanting to go to a lot of plays or anything like that. I'm happy to go see the symphony play. I love watching the symphony, or watching. I guess you watch them too. Listening to the symphony, fantastic. Musicals, Broadway plays, not really my thing, but I was pleasantly surprised. It was pretty fantastic. And like I said, incredibly funny. Incredibly funny. I will tell you this little story, and if she's listening, I apologize. We were walking up to the play. Yeah, it's been around for a while, right? It's just, when I was in Phoenix last time. It's not a new thing, but it's made its run across the country probably a couple of times, but I live in a podunk little area, and we don't get a lot coming here. So when it does come, you got to take advantage of it. But we were walking up to the box office, not to the box, the ticket takers. Not the box office, the ticket takers. We're walking up to the ticket takers, and there are two people standing outside, dressed, white shirts, ties, name tags. And my wife walks up to the first one, and she goes, "Hey, are you guys performers? Is this performance art that you're out here?" And the poor guy looks at her and he goes, "No, ma'am. We're on a mission. We're missionaries. We were sent here." And her face just kind of went, "Uh-oh." It was pretty funny. I couldn't help but laugh. All right, cool. So, look, now we got part of her, I'm going to call it a jacket. I'm not exactly sure what it is. We got part of this on here. It's got this cool lighter area in the center right here. I'm just going to go over it. Ooh, that's cool. So when it dries, that's going to dry really light, and we can help to accentuate that and help keep that here for some dimensionality on her shoulder there. That's going to be really good. And it's going to be really nice because, I'm going to flip this over, this area back here, And some of this down here is going to be dark. It's going to get much darker. I need to make this dark to make this really light here. So it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. All right, let's see. Face dry, that's dry. Okay, so cool. So we can come in and put some blue up here, and I'm just going to start with some basic, what is this? This is cerulean blue. Got to be a little careful with cerulean blue because cerulean blue is a little bit more opaque than some of the other colors. And with some of the opaque colors, if you put them on a little heavy, they're going to have a tendency to lift on that next layer a little bit, but we're going to do a good job. We're going to be very careful, or mostly careful, and put this on. And this is another area that we have the opportunity to introduce on layer 1 here some highlights or lowlights and introduce some dimensionality along with some color variance too. Right? We just have that ability to do that just ever so slightly, and it looks like I'm working a little too slowly and I'm starting to get a bit of a hard edge, and I don't want a hard edge. So I'm going to try to pick up the pace just ever so slightly. Maybe a little bit of this cobalt blue in here, or just a touch of ultramarine down here. One more thing I should say as I'm getting started with this. Spring has gotten here. In my area of the country, we didn't get a cold storm like most people in the country got. My little area of the country, we skirted right past that. We didn't partake in winter this year, but we did have a week or so where it was cool. It was chilly. Maybe 2 weeks. It was chilly. I wouldn't really say it was cold, but it was definitely chilly. And now it's hot. I left work this morning, so I live by the ocean. I don't get necessarily the heat at my home that we get in the rest of the town here, or the township, the county. But we get a little bit of it. But inland where I work, 15, 20 miles away, it gets warm because we don't have the ocean cooling it right away. And when I got into my car after work today, it said 89 degrees, and I thought that was a bit much. But what it means is the studio here, even though it's not really hot, it's been in the sun all day, and it's warm in here. So the time of I started, I looked at the thermometer. The thermometer said it was 78 in here. It's warm. Dwayne says, yeah, pretty cool to tweak Vermeer's painting. Yeah, so I actually did drawings for the Mona Lisa, Vincent van Gogh, and American Gothic. So I've got 3 more paintings. They're bigger. I don't know if I can do those in a 2-hour time frame, but they're going to be fun to paint. I'm thinking about doing Whistler's mother. I've got a good idea on what she should look like as an alien. So that'll be fun. Tom says, we're into summer always. We're breaking records. Next week will be 100 plus. Wow. Ooh, I would rather talk politics. No, you wouldn't. No. So I mentioned that it's warm in here, not because it's, anything. It's not a big stopper or anything. It's just that it's going to adjust the drying time of the paper here quite a bit. It's going to end up drying this paper out pretty quickly in some instances, I have to believe. Yikes, Tom. Yikes, Tom. Yeah, yikes is right. And I do have to say, Dwayne, I should text you, Dwayne. or message you in Discord. I went out. You know, it's daylight savings time now, right? It's nice and warm. After work, you can get out, you can do some things. Yesterday, I went out fishing. Used one of my favorite get-ups. I used just a Texas rigged Rapala Rapala cleanup craw. One of my favorite things to fish with. And as turns into the case from time to time, I was catching fish when nobody else was. While I was out there, I was out there from 5 o'clock until 7, and I caught a dozen fish. And everybody around me was looking at me like, "How are you doing that? How's that possible that you're catching fish and I'm not?" I don't know. And they weren't. I'm certainly not going to say they were monster fish, but they were nice. Most of them were over 2 pounds. Some of them were close to 3 pounds. But it was so much fun. So much fun. Let's see. I'm going to disregard here a little bit of. I love using craws. They're so good. They're such a great presentation to the fish. I'm going to flip this a little bit. So let me talk reference photo here just for a moment. So this girl with a pearl earring has light that's coming in from her or from her right-hand side, I guess. Right? She's looking back, but it's coming kind of from her right-hand side, almost like it's back. It's almost parallel to where she's at. Right? And it's casting shadows on the forward side of her face and on the forward side of her cheek. I'm going to not do that. I'm going to say I don't care about that. And here's why. If I care about that, it makes what little bit of a nose I want to give her very hard to do. If I don't care about that, I can put a line, just a little line here, a little separation between maybe just a little ridge of a nose and everything behind it. And leave her nose, that little ridge, just a little bit lighter, everything else behind it a little bit darker. And then I can just say, it doesn't matter. People will look at it and nobody will ever notice. I'm telling you because I want you to know. But nobody will ever pick up on that. I promise. Nobody will ever pick up on that. So I'm going to try that right now. I'm going to get a little bit. Actually, I'm going to lighten this back up. A little bit of my yellow. This is Hansa yellow. If anybody wants to see the colors that I'm using, I could just let me know and I can put them down here somewhere. I'll turn that filter on. But I'm going to just ever so slightly right there. I've just defined her nose. Right? That's all I want. Just that little bit of definition right there. This is probably actually too much color in there, but I just want to get something in there that's going to start to define that shape. Can you see? Just that little bit of her nose right there. Now we still do have to do a little bit of contouring on this side, right? That eye socket does need to be kind of in a socket. Everybody knows I'm a master of terminology when it comes to anatomy, so eye socket is pretty much as in detail as I get with anatomy. I'm worse with animals than I am with, I almost said humans, with aliens. I've studied alien anatomy a lot. I think I saw a documentary on Fox about it years ago. That's about as much as I know. maybe I'm going to lighten this. Maybe I'm just going to lighten that ever so slightly. Okay, cool. All right. Now. All right, if I'm going to keep going on her face. Is everybody with me on this so far? Where's a pointer? Give me a pointer. Where's my blue pointer? Here it is. My Cotman pen. I like it. It's blue. It's different than everything else I have on my desk here. It's blue, and I can use it for a pointer. I can find it easily. She has a jawline here. She doesn't have much of a mouth, and that's okay. But she does have this jawline. And what we need to do is introduce a shadow from her cheek here. Right, we got to leave a little bit of light. This is where it gets difficult, and this is where it gets interesting. The light's coming in this way. Don't look at her nose. The light's coming in this way. It's coming as being blocked by her brow ridge here. But then underneath here, right here, the cheekbone can be in light. Then the side of her jaw down here has to be a little darker. But then in order to make the differentiation between her neck and her jaw, that's got to be a little bit lighter. That line has to stay. So here's how, or here's not how, here's what I'm going to do about that. First thing is first, get a little bit smaller brush, gain a little bit more control over it. And then I'm going to put a dark line down basically where I want the shadow in here to be, and then I'm going to blend it out both ways. That's the theory. That's how I want it to work. So let's see if it actually does work like that. And if it does, we'll all jump up and give a big yippee. And if it doesn't, and then we'll figure it out. We got plenty of other things we can do. So here's where I'm going to go. Oh, be brave, Michael. Be brave. Be brave. Right in here. Right along here. And I've got to work a little bit quickly. I might actually be able to add a little bit of extra color. This might not be quite enough. But yeah, I'm just going to pull that out a little bit. This is another time, maybe if I'm doing this on a Saturday afternoon, I've got 4 or 5 hours to do this, then I do this in multiple layers and layer and layer and layer. On a Wednesday, when we're just having a little bit of fun, a little quicker maybe is okay. It's all right. But here we go, and I'm going to blend this side down, and if this still needs more color on it, that's okay. That's totally fine. Not going to sweat it a whole lot. Push that color down a little bit. I talk about this a lot. I hope everybody remembers me talking about this. If you've got color on here and it's wet, you can push that color around however you want. You have almost unlimited ability to push that color around. All right, there's a lot you can do to push that color around. And I, probably more than anybody you'll ever see, push my color back into the color, right? I know where I want it to. I know where I want it to go to. I know where I want it not to go past, and so I'll blend back into a color. Lots of people take and blend from the color out to the rest of the page, which is a totally legitimate, a fantastic technique. Everybody should have that in their bag. One thing not a lot of people tell you about, you can blend it the other way too. As long as it stays wet, a little damp, you can push that color around however you want. You got too much here, let's push it back a little bit. You got too much there, let's let it be. And there we go. So now we're really starting. All of a sudden her face looks longer, right? It looks a little longer. We might have to come back with a little bit more color in here. Maybe. A little bit down here. I got to watch my water levels at this point. It's starting to dry up a little bit. As long as I don't put on paint that's too wet, or touch a brush to it that's really damp, I can go back and continue to manipulate this. This is cotton paper. It's all cotton paper, so it's going to take a little bit of abuse. And it's still wet, and in between each time I brush this, I'm just dabbing it off on the end of my I'm dabbing the end of my brush on my paper. So I'm trying to keep a consistent amount of water, paint, but water on my brush. In doing so, we can really make this look like whatever we want to. Natalie's here. Hello. You almost forgot in the time change. Oh yes, I forgot. How did everybody do with the time change? I hope everybody came through it okay. I totally forgot all about it. Monday was tough for me. Sunday was tough for me, but I think I'm hitting my stride now, getting into it. Everything seems to be a little better. A little bit better. And I'm going to put a little dark. I'm going to continue this dark, but a little bit around the outside here. Not as an outline necessarily, but just to help give her 3 dimensions. All right, we're gonna have some dimension on what's now her side towards me. I guess her left hand side. I want the right hand side of her face to have a little bit of dimension too, so I'm just going to throw in a little color there. And that'll just make it look like that area that's kind of folded around on the back side has something going on with it. And as I put this color on, if at this point I want to adjust it so that first layer of green is not so bright, this is the perfect time to do that. Make any of those little tiny micro adjustments, or just leave it the way it is, and that'll probably be cool too. Natalie, how are you? How have you been? How have you been? I hope you've been well. Hope the time change hasn't affected you too much. She's got a little, maybe I didn't need color right at the top of her forehead here, but I think I'm going to take this out just a little bit. Pull some of that color out, but going down around her head here, definitely cool. I'm just going to push some of this back. All right, cool. So looking at her now, the eyes are going to be a little different because it's not there, but she started to get some dimension on her face. They're starting to get some there. It's coming. Little bits and pieces. It's coming. Let's give her just a little tiny nose here, right? Just ever so small of a nose. And I don't want to do this because I want her to have a nose. I want to do it because it's another element in here that's going to help to add just a little bit to her face. Just a little bit to her looks. Right, just a little. In fact, I'm not even sure you can see it. See it? Just put a little tiny line there. If I pick that up, you can just barely see it. Okay. Whew. Okay, I'm going to step away from her face for a moment. Natalie says, I'm good. We don't mess with you. Oh, that's right. You don't. It's me that's different. It's me that's different. I forgot. You don't. Well, I'll tell you, I'll tell you what did happen is I woke up on Sunday morning at what now was 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, unable to get back to sleep for whatever reason. And I'm like, okay, It's 3:30 in the morning. What am I going to do? It was 4:30, but it was really 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, how is this ever going to work? This is not something I want to have happen. I don't need to be up this early. I don't know how to deal with this. It's a little tough, but I got through it. I fought through it. like an adult. I fought through it like somebody who's been through it a million times before. All right, adding just, I'm hoping, a little bit of interest here to her hat. I'm still not exactly sure what we're calling this on her head. I'm going to call it her hat for the time being. And I'm going to try to leave. I'm going to try to leave some of that underpainting there, and I'm not going to touch some of it. And I'm hoping that that's going to give me an interesting look, and I'm hoping that it's actually going to match some of that a little bit. And I'll let you see that in just a second. I'm hoping it's going to match that, but I'm not actually going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to hide it from you. Now, I'll let you see exactly what it looks like here in just a second. Just give me one extra moment to put a couple of little lines on here. There actually is some red back here too. It might be a nice balance to some of the green that's on that side of the painting. We can make a determination on that in a minute if we need to. Natalie says, you couldn't find me last night. You didn't miss anything. You didn't. I had tickets to see Book of Mormon last week, and I thought I posted but perhaps I didn't, and I'll take blame for it, because why wouldn't I? It's my channel. Or posted somewhere. But so I had to miss it. We got tickets to see Book of Mormon. It was here for 2 nights, and it sold out in like no time. And those were our tickets that we got. And so I couldn't make it last week. And now I have to tell you, I think I'm going to have to miss next week too, because I'm going to be going on a work trip to the Bay Area, which will actually be fun. But so I think I'm leaving Wednesday morning, and I'm gonna miss this next week too. But we'll make it up. I searched the disco. Okay, so I didn't. Okay, my bad. All right, so we got a little bit of her hat here. So I was gonna show you her hat. There's my reference. There you go. So you can see kind of on the top side of that hat, bonnet, whatever that thing is, there's some red there. I hope you can see. There's a little bit of red there. A couple of areas where there's just some other colors thrown in. I don't have a lot of red in there, but just a little bit to set it off. So you know it's maybe a change in color. Just a little bit. Something a little bit. There we go, something like that. I don't think that looks too bad. We might have to come back and add a little bit more color in here, but I think that looks pretty good. I think so. Now I can hear, there must be, my studio's in my garage. I can hear mourning doves. I don't know why they didn't check the time, but I can hear mourning doves hooting above me. It's actually kind of nice. Okay, so we got some going on here. That's dark, that's wet. I can't touch that. This is gonna touch that, so I can't do anything here. So I've either got to come down and do some of the white here, or get back into her robe or her jacket. Let's jump into her jacket here. And I've got this same color going. It's a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of yellow ochre here. And I'm going to start with that. And when we need to darken it down, I'm going to put in, a little bit of cobalt blue or a little bit of ultramarine blue. Something to set this color apart from this part of her hat. Does anybody know what that is? Her wrap? Her wrap? I don't. One of these days, I'm going to do some research before I do a live stream. Our baby hummingbirds are big enough to fletch. Holy cow. Mama has been trying to convince them to move their lazy butts. No. The hummingbirds are like the least lazy bird ever. Holy cow, they are busybodies. But now, does anybody watch? And I watch them partly because they're in California and partly because the footage is so good. Does anybody watch the eagles at Big Bear Lake? I have them on constantly at work. I have a TV that, my work, we have 2 offices that are conjoined by a storeroom. And in the storeroom, I have the YouTube feed of the eagles on. And you can stop and take a look at them anytime you walk past or walk between offices. And if the babies are chubby and barely, yeah, but that doesn't mean they're lazy. Babies are supposed to be chubby. That means they're healthy babies. The Big Bear eagles had a problem with their first clutch of eggs, and they abandoned them, which I was so sad to see. They abandoned them, and the ravens got their eggs, and it was not very nice. But then they had a second clutch, and Mom and Dad have been on that constantly since, well, for 2 weeks now, since the second clutch arrived. And I'm hoping that next week we're going to get some hatching. I think it's next week. I've got half the office hooked on these birds, and so we have a little betting pool, kind of. Not really bets, we just talk about it, really. No actual betting taking place about when they're gonna hatch, when they were gonna be laid, how many there were gonna be, all those fun things like that. But Mom and Dad are hanging out on there. They're doing their job this time. They're gonna bring these babies home this year. Natalie, how many? Google says her headpiece is a turban. Okay, a turban. All right, I'll go with that. I'll go with a turban. So here's what I like about her robe, her shawl, her jacket, whatever Google calls this. Look at the cool colors in here, right? This is why letting the colors mix on the page makes it so neat. Look at the colors back here. The blue in with the ochres and the browns. Yes, it grays it down, but there's still kind of a blue undertone in there. And then more of a yellow up here and a brown up here, an umber up here, and then back into some blue. I just think that transition is really cool. I think that looks fantastic. And all of a sudden, look, this looks really pale in comparison. Remember we started this and this didn't look all that pale? It looked a lot like this, but now look, it's so pale, which is exactly what we wanted. It's exactly what we wanted. Okay. Whew. A turban. See, a turban. Natalie, I knew there was a reason I always invite you to these things. Actually, I didn't invite you. You found your way, and thank you. All right, cool. So we got that. Now let's see. That it's quite warm in here. That's not quite dry, and now has a fingerprint in it. Her face is dry. I'm going to assume that that's dry enough. Couple of things. If you look at the blue band of her turban here, so I set this up a little bit purposefully, right? Very light here, darker back here, and kind of you can see that transition in here. Okay, I got a little lucky with that transition in there, but if you look at that reference and look in that same spot, there's some big dark areas in there, right? Like there's some folds in there, then they get dark right away. I can utilize this darker area right here. You know, the actual Vermeer, it's down here a little bit. And that's okay. We're having a fun representation of it anyways. So mine's going to be up here a little bit. It's going to work great. So I'm going to go back to a slightly larger brush. Slightly larger brush. Okay, cool. And I should say, when I put her face on, the green on her face, I did it just after I did the blue of the turban, and look what happened. Look, green went in there. You know what I didn't do this time? Let I do a lot. I didn't freak out and go, no! I just let it go. All good. All good. It's there. It's doing fine. It's doing what it's going to do. And I'm loving it. I'm trying to not to take that for a real sentence. Worry too much about that kind of stuff, especially on that first layer. Because if those colors mingle together a little bit and form a bit of a harder line, sometimes that makes some cool stuff. All right, a little ultramarine blue here, a little cobalt blue. Mix those together. If we get a little bit of that green in there from my palette, not going to sweat it because you know what? Maybe it's a little reflected light from her face there. We don't know. It could be. Could be. Oh, and I should say, she's got this earring on. Not sure where that earring is attached because she doesn't have an actual ear in my painting. Just kind of gloss over that if you would. I thought she's an alien. She doesn't really need any ears. It's maybe an ear hole or something. I mean, just go over that. So here we go. Layer number 2 on her turban. We're going to see a lot of this come together right here. Maybe I'll even throw in a little bit of this turquoise down here. That'll probably be fun. A little bit of turquoise in here. I used to say, "Oh, you can't put any turquoise in here. That's not going to match with the color harmony of it. The turquoise is a different spectrum of blue, and it's going to look a little funny." And the more I paint, the more I go, you know what? It's more fun to put some weirdo stuff in there and see what the paint does and what the color does and how does it mix together. That's a lot of fun to see. So a lot of good can come out of that. So I got to put a little bit here. So this wrap, if it's a turban, well, even if it's not a turban, and not that I have a lot of experience wearing a turban, so I don't really know. But I'm going to say there's a little bit of an undercut under there, if that's the way you describe a turban. Right, the fabric's got some thickness to it, or maybe it's a couple of layers deep in here, and it casts a little bit of a shadow. Yeah, something like that. Something. It was a little too much water. That's okay. We'll sop it up. All right, cool. Oh, look. Ooh. So that alone looks really good. Got that light coming in here. This whole area is lit up. Oh. This is one of the downfalls of manipulating my paper so much. Right, I move my paper a lot, and I'm unapologetic for doing it. But I move my paper a lot, and sometimes I don't see the full picture until I turn it back around to straight up, and then my brain kind of reorients everything, and I can see what's going on there. That looks, I love the way that looks. I'll tell you what it does make me want to do, though. Add some more dark to her face here. Now her face is too light. We'll get to it. I don't want to add too much and then blow that out, though. But it's good in there. It's looking good. It's looking good. Oh, I think it's looking good. Yeah, I love that light there. Lighter here. There's like a little band right here where it's just a little darker, and then it's darker down here. And we can still push this even further. And we probably should push this even further. But I like where it's going. I really like where this is going. It's getting there. It's getting there. It's getting there. This is so good. All right. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I was going to do some more on her face. I can't do her face. This is dry. So we can do her shoulder here. Let's do her shoulder. I'm going to go back to my brush. I think this is a size 10, size 8. This is my size 8. This is the one I use most of all. Does everybody have a favorite brush that they use for so much of what they do? For me, it's this size 8 brush right here. I like this one so much. The only remnant, look, the only remnant of printing on here is that little bit right there. That's it. It's been in my hand so much. Okay, what do we have to do with this? We've got, I don't know what these are. I'm going to call them pleats. An area here on her shoulder that have some light on them, right? There's some dappled light on them, or a little bit of reflected light. But this dark comes around that a little bit and goes down her back, down here. And then just some general areas of color over here. We'll do something, we'll darken it a little bit to match maybe that a little bit. Whew, so that's what we've got to do. We've got to get, but these are the most important things on her shoulder here. These are the important things not to screw up. If we can do it without screwing these up, then we're doing good. And yes, I'm stalling just ever so slightly. Okay, deep breath, I'm ready to roll. If I'm remembering, there's a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of burnt umber. That's going to knock our color down a little bit. Won't be quite as bright. And then a little bit of the cobalt blue inside there. Dabble a little bit of that cobalt blue in there while it's still wet, and we're good to go. Whatever color we have there, let me drop a little bit of that in, and let's see. Does that look even close? It does look pretty close. Look at that. All right, all right. So I'm going to continue this up across there, but I want to not paint that at the moment. I got to let that sit for just a second. I want some of that color to be there, but I want it to settle in just a second, because I want to draw a couple of lines on there and not much more than that. And let's see, this color needs to come straight down here. I can blend this out over here so I don't get a hard edge, and we can leave that be. Two different pieces of fabric. If they're not exactly right, that's okay. That's okay. If they're not exactly right. Everybody's quiet. Everybody's quiet. This is very bothersome to me. I love the conversation. It's not really bothersome, right? I don't mean to say that. I like talking about what you guys like to talk about, though. I get to talk with myself all day long. I only get to talk to you guys for, an hour and a few minutes. I don't know if anybody is here from my work. They will probably jump in and agree. Yeah, yes, he talks to himself quite a bit. We're kind of over it. Oh, my poor team has to deal with me all day long. I love my team. Best team to work with at my whole institution. Best team by far. All right. I don't know if Vermeer would like this or not. I don't think he would hate it. I think it's got an interesting look to it. You know what? I'm going to put just a little bit extra of blue over here. A little bit extra. Come on. A little extra blue. Right? Maybe that just denotes that seam there a little bit. Just something there. Yeah, I like that. And I don't want to make it all dark, and I don't want to make it all light, right? There has to be some differences here. I'm going to put a little bit more dark back here, as this should be a bit darker back here. I'm going to hope that it doesn't bleed up and cause a giant back run. But I like the light here. I don't want that to go away. I like the light up there. I like the dark all around it. I think it's a very good start. I just want to kind of wet that area a little bit so I don't get a tide line. But I kind of like that. It's not that. It's its own thing. It's kind of neat. Okay, so now what I did up here, and this is a little harder for me. I will be honest. These hard lines like this, I don't do well with hard lines. I like soft lines like down here, right? But these hard lines, I'm going to try to duplicate here on the Natalie, is this the right word? The hangy down bit from the turbine? I'm pretty sure that's what that technical term is, the hangy down bit. Pretty sure that's it. I nailed it. No, not at all. But we're gonna put some lines down here because this is drying up. This is still wet, but we can get into it. And if we get this done, then we're pretty much done with her jacket and the top of her turbine anyways. Still got some extra cool stuff to do here. I should say, we are still streaming on YouTube and on Twitch at the same time again tonight. And now I know I just said that. I've pretty much set myself up for failure. The whole internet's going to crash at my house and everything's going to go sideways. I guarantee it's going to happen now because I mentioned it. But we're going to have a little hope. We're going to have a little bit of hope that we're going to carry through and things are going to be fine. And I just noticed what I'm doing here. And for those of you who apparently Vermeer used pearls in half of his known paintings. Wow. What was his fascination with pearls? Interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that. I mean, I would have no reason to ever think about it, but that's weird. He glued on pearls on a number of his paintings. Interesting. Let's see. And this is where I didn't draw these lines on. I didn't. Should I have? I don't know. Maybe. Sometimes I think drawing them on helps. Sometimes I think you're better off doing this a little bit more organically. You bring a little bit more life to what you're doing. If you don't necessarily have those lines pre-drawn. So occasionally I will draw the lines on here. For this one I didn't. I'm hoping it's not going to come back and bite me. Right? I hope it doesn't get to the point where I look and I go, yeah, I definitely should have drawn a few lines in there because this is not looking like I wanted it to. Let's see, I'm going to connect those maybe like that. I'm going to make that all one right there. Get some darker colors. Where this is a little bit bigger, I want to drop just a little bit of blue in there. As we come back to the back, there is some of this back here that's got some of that red in it for whatever reason. So for me, I'm not using red. Using a little bit of the maroon perylene. I think it's got a really nice color as it goes over top of the this ochre color. I think it's very nice. A little ultramarine. Give me a little bit of ultramarine in here. I don't want this to get too dark though. I want this to lighten a little bit as we come towards the end of it. Now there is a bit of blue on the end of this, and no, I didn't necessarily plan for that. That's a mistake. Symbol of wealth. Oh well, that would make sense. That totally makes sense. Well, the Vermeer guy is a pretty smart guy. I didn't necessarily plan for that. Quite honestly, I don't think I noticed it until today, and I went, well, that's weird. Why didn't I put any blue on there? But we're going to get a little bit of blue on here. We'll put a little bit of blue on here. The blue's going to be fine on here. I think we'll do a little bit of some cobalt blue on here. See if we can do a little bit of cobalt blue on here, and we'll just give it a little bit of a something like this. And as you see me reach up here, I have two water jugs up there. One is clean water and one is dirty water. And for anybody who's trying to figure out painting, I would suggest having a couple of different things of water. That is going to be too high. I guess it doesn't matter. It just really helps out to know where your water is going to be and what it is, right? Clean water, clean brushes go in clean water to really make them clean, and dirty brushes go in dirty water to start to make them clean. That's kind of how I think about it. I've always loved the wide-eyed innocence of this girl. She definitely has an innocence look about her. Maybe that's it. Because I've looked at this a million times and I've gone, this to me looks like a completely unremarkable painting. There's nothing about this painting that makes me go, masterpiece. Yep. But you know what? I think that has something to do with it. It does. She's very girl-esque. I would say, if I'm looking at her, I would say like early teens, like she's trying to dress up like her mother would be or something like that. And I think that's where a lot of that innocence comes in, and you get the feel of it. Like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. I get it like that. I think that's a great observation. Yeah, she does look very innocent. In a green alien kind of a way. She did until she took her mask off and showed that she's from planet Zorgnon, or I don't know where aliens come from. Let's see. This is gonna come down. So I've gotten out of my area here a little bit. I'm outside the lines here just a little bit, and I'm not gonna sweat it all that much because we are putting a background on this one, and we are going to be, or hopefully we're going to be making that fairly dark, so that so that we can cover up some of these mistakes that we may have made along the way. Not really mistakes. The happy accidents we've come across, right? Some of those little areas. And I'm gonna do this. This isn't quite right to me. Should have done this first, but I'm still going to put just a little bit of color in here, and I'm going to allow I want to force the perception here that these are one behind the other, and so I'm going to put a little bit of color here to force that. Just ever so, it doesn't need to be much, and that's probably what I've got. There's probably plenty. Something like that. I'm going to have to come back over that just a little bit. Yeah, I think they got a little dark. Sorry, Vermeer. I think they got just a little dark. Let's see if we can pull a little bit of this color off. Just a little bit of that color off. Lighten that up ever so slightly. I can take some of this color from all the way up there. I'm not a big fan of a little better. I'm not a big fan of the look. I'm sure you've all seen it when you pull a little color up. Right, you put a line on, it's too dark, you pull some color up, and then all of a sudden, there's different feel to it. It's white on the top, but colored underneath. I'm not a big fan of that. So whatever I do, I try to come back and just cover that up a little bit. Sometimes you can do it a little better than others. Sometimes not so well. Just a little darker than I wanted to up here. I kind of thought that to myself, and then I went, no, I think it's going to be fine. It's going to lighten up. And it just didn't. So now I've got a little damage control to do, but in the end, we're going to be fine. It's just this value should be no more than that value. I guess the other thing I could do is I could increase this value here, right? If I really needed to, I could increase this value. That would make it look like it kind of decreases that value. And if we do this right, we might be able to get away with it. And we might have to increase this value anyways if we're making this any darker. So, I don't know, it might all work out. Okay, so I'm just talking to myself here, that's all. Oh, man. See, now I've been jabbering away to myself, and I just looked at my numbers, and a couple of people have taken off because obviously they're going, this guy's nutty. I'm not sure what he's talking about with this color value stuff. That's probably the right thing to do. I don't know. Could be. Okay, so she's got a white collar here, and I'm going to paint it anything but white. Right? I've got some kind of neutrally tint stuff here. Got some other colors mixed in there. You come down on this side, it's actually a pretty warm color down here. So I'm going to put a little bit of brown or ochre on it. as we come into the middle, just going to rub whatever color's on my brush on there. Just, you know, slight colors. None of that collar is white in the least. So I don't want to leave it white. There we go. I think that looks good. All right, a little darker back here, and a little lighter, and then a little darker up here. That kind of fits the rest of the way we've been doing things. I think that looks pretty good. I think it looks really nice back there. Right, I really do like that. I think I need to give me a little bit of color here. I need to, let's see, this is going to come down. Make a little mark there and there. So I don't know, something like that. All these little details should be helping. No comments tonight from the Twitch side of things, which is a little surprising. Anybody on Twitch? I'm here. Say hello. If you post a message, it'll come up on here and we'll all see it. All right, so a lot of work done all around here. What am I going to do now? What am I going to do? I'm going to do this. Give me a little bit of this ultramarine blue, a little bit of this cobalt blue, and just like her hat there. You know what? Let me get a little bit of, and this is going to come down here, and I think there's going to be one here. Cool. And then let's put on another layer of everything down here. So these are going to be like the ribs, the bands in her hat here. The fabric, where it's just bent that little bit, right? And because there's a little bit of brown in the original, probably he's trying to stretch his colors a little bit or something like that. I'm just going to drop a little bit of color in here. A little bit of that brown color in there. Probably does actually add a little bit to the look. That's kind of neat. Well, who'd have thought a master would have had a good idea on how to do that, huh? who'd have ever thunk it? Not me. Certainly not me. All right, there we go. There's her hat, or her turban. I'm sorry, her turban. Her turban is now, I'm going to call her turban complete. It's a complete turban. We can now call her the Turbinator. I'll be hat. Come on, somebody laugh at that. Somebody please laugh at that. No, nobody? Nobody's going to laugh at my bad jokes? All right. All right. No more jokes. No more jokes. Alrighty. I'm just mixing up a blue. I don't want, or a green. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you. Thank you. I don't want this to be too blue. Is my only concern here, and I'm going to do a little bit of painting in here, and that probably is plenty of color, actually. Right down around her eye. So this is the area that starts to cove in right there. Right? I want to get that in there. Right, that dark right above her eye. Right up above that eye. But what I don't want it to do is come too far and get over the bridge of her nose. You don't want that, but I do want that dark right there. All right, I like that. So that's going to start the process of seeding her eye in there. That's going to start that process. And I can bring some of this down underneath. She's got this little tiny nose here. This is not much, but I need something, and I'm afraid she's going to look like she's got kind of a pig nose. I don't really want that. But I gotta have something there. And I'm gonna put just a little something right here underneath. That's gonna be underneath. I'm gonna blend this way out. I'm gonna blend this way out. Right? That's gonna be underneath her mouth, right? She's an alien. Doesn't have a big mouth. It's just basically a little slit right there. Just basically this little slit. But there's a little bit, and yes, I'm just kind of making up this story to myself. I'm trying to convince myself of this. There's that little, can you even see it? There you go. You can see it right there. There's a little bit just underneath there. That's all I want. All I want. And before I do any more, actually, I do need to do more, and I know I need to do more. I need to darken her neck up here. Is actually pretty dark. It's actually pretty dark. Lighter on the blue, more on the green. Thankfully, I can use some of this olive green that I have here. I think it'll work well just to darken that green up, right? So she's got some dark areas right underneath her chin here. She doesn't. It's, for her, it's very light right there. When you're an alien, though, that's way dark under there. It's way dark. So it's just how it goes. I don't even know if you can go and have your green skin lightened, if there's any treatments for that or something. I would imagine if you really felt bad about having the dark skin under there, she could do that. I don't know. What I don't know, I haven't made up this part of the story yet, is when she came here, and before she posed for this painting, did she come as an individual? Did she come with her family? No, hang on a minute. No. She had to have come with her family because I have other paintings to paint, and other members of her family could be in those other paintings. So, yeah, this is the daughter of maybe this is the now I'm really going off the rails. It ain't easy being green. Yeah, right. Thank you. Maybe she's got a pet frog. I don't know. I'm gonna pull out my ukulele and start playing that. And yes, I do know that song on ukulele. I love that song. But probably I'm not really going to pull out my ukulele and play that. I'll pass for tonight. But I could. Yeah, so maybe this is the daughter. I know they're all misplaced in time. And this is the daughter of American Gothic, right? The farmers. And she's all dressed up in her finest. And I guess American Gothic would take place in Iowa or Nebraska. I'm just trying to think. So back in the day, they didn't have a whole lot of money, and she didn't have earrings, or especially pearl earrings. If she had pearl earrings, it would have been an earring that she had named Pearl. That would be the only way it would be a pearl earring. I'm trying to come up with something here. I feel like Rodney Dangerfield. This is a tough crowd. I think I got this on a little thick. I've got this on a little thick, and I'm gonna try to remedy this right now. I didn't realize I put it on quite this thick. The answer to thinning it down is, of course, water, but you've got to be a little careful. Oh, that's not bad. You've got to be a little careful on how you do the water. Let's just get some of this out from just around her eye. You learn to do this upside down a little bit. Oh, okay. I like that. I like that. I can live with that. Right around that eye. I'm going to push this back just a little bit more from her eye, actually. Push it back just a little bit more. Oh, I think that's better. I think that's better. I think that's better. I do. All right. See, I think it looks a little blue for you, but for me, I don't really actually see much of any blue in this painting. But I look up on my screen up there, and it looks pretty blue. And now this one I want to make sure I don't get too dark with, but again, I want to go around her eye, give her this nice orbital ridge here. I don't know. No, it's a sagittal. No, it could be an orbital ridge. Can it be an orbital ridge? I don't know. But that helped to set her. Now you can actually kind of see her nose a little bit, and that I do like. Sorry, darling. I'm going to give you a little bit of more of a nose here. It might make it just a slightly piggy nose. I apologize for that, but in the grand scheme of the painting, I got to kind of do it a little bit. All right. Oh, yes. Okay, cool. Whew. Take a breath, Michael. We're getting there. Okay. Saturn here. Saturn. Red, right? Red. Yes. Her earring is a pearl, and it's actually silver-ish. There you go. It's actually silver-ish, but we're not going to do it silver-ish or pearl-essent. In fact, I'm not even sure where my pearl-essent colors are. We're going to do it as a Saturn. And besides, if I do it red or pinky red or something like that, it's going to really stand out against her skin. Well, I guess I have to wait for her skin to dry a little bit, don't I? Right, so what's the next big thing we've got to do here? The next big thing we've got to do is we've got a bit of background color to do. I don't want to not do that. Right? I want to hit our background color. I do. I'm just knocking down this all at one small shade there. There we go. All right, background color. Big paintbrush. And it's blue. It's a dark blue. I think we're gonna lighten it up a little bit. I'm gonna go alizarin crimson, and turquoise. Ooh, and that's gonna be a lovely color. Oh yeah. And if we need it to be a little redder in some places, that'll be fine. If we need it to be a little bit more turquoisey in other places, that'll be fine. Now the original one there has a darker wash. I'm not going to put on quite as dark of a wash, and yes, I'm gonna get something just a little finer to get in here. So why did I choose purple instead of a blue, instead of a real blue, or any other color? A couple of reasons. One, there's so much of this ochre, this yellow color on here that I wanted it to stand out a bit. And two, I think it's going to be a good contrast to the green on her face over here a little bit. I could be wrong. I'm wrong often. I'm comfortable with being wrong some days. Look, I'm actually taking my time and going around this. Look at that. What an amazing thing. I can paint and stay within or without the lines. How about that? Who knew? New skill. New skill. I think I'm getting down a little low. I gotta come back up a little bit. Push my color back up my desk just a little bit so y'all can see what I'm doing. I might be a little blue, but that's okay. It's artistic. If it's a little too blue, it's artistic. I did paint outside the lines right in that spot there just a little bit. Don't worry about that. Nobody will notice it. Nobody will. I'm going to say nobody will notice. That is going to be the first thing anybody notices. I'm going to hang it up in my office. That'll be the first thing everybody notices. That's always the way it is. That's okay. All right, so I'm looking at this, and I actually like my take on the Vermeer. Does anybody know anything about Vermeer? I'm going to say it kind of looked good. He's probably rolling over in his grave going, that is so terrible. Why would you, first of all, why would you do it in watercolors? And second of all, why would you make her an alien? Oh, I think she looks good. All right, that's a nice background. Austere, not too much. Something that's going to be in the background, not take away from her. It's a good start. We're getting there. We're getting there. We got some eyes to do. I got to do this one first, and we got all of her facial features, don't we? I need a smaller brush. Smaller brush. I'm starting with Payne's Gray, just mostly Payne's Gray. Quite honestly, that's how I start most of my eyes. If they're, you know, like if they're an animal eye and they're all one color, they're black or something like that, I usually start with the Payne's Gray. Nice neutral color. It gives a base for everything else to be put upon. And it's a bit tricky because it's wet and I can't put my hand on it. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Let's get this eye in here first. And now we can't quite do this one, but we're going to come back to it because we're going to do her mouth first. I'm going to go to an even smaller brush. What's this? This is oh, this is a golden brush. This is my little tiny golden brush. Okay, cool. And in this, I am going to get black. I am. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of blue, though. But yes, it's going to be black. Ooh, and let's see. Her mouth is right there. Black is weird. It looks so dark to me. It looks so dark. I have a hard time with it. It just looks like it's 14 times darker than it needs to be. Okay, there's her mouth. And I'm going to try to give her some nice nostrils here. Some nice alien nostrils. All right, let me pull this down just. I told you I might make her a little piggy nose, but that's okay. We don't know that that's not what her nose actually looks like. It could look exactly like that. We don't really know. I'm going to add a little bit of dark just to the bottom of this eye. Or maybe just a little bit more than just the bottom of the eye. How's that? I'm just going to add a little bit of black here. While it's still wet, and we get to, hopefully this will give us a nice soft line on here. How is she looking? Good. I think she looks good. So I have to ask, this is an indulgence for me to paint this. I really want to know how you guys feel about me doing this. Because, you know, only part of my painting is for me. Right? It is a rather large part, I will admit. But only part of it is for me. Part of it I like to do this because I like the interaction. I like to talk to everybody. And if I were just going to paint, I could sit in my studio and quiet and be alone and paint, and it would be no big deal. But I like to talk with everybody. And I like the interaction. And so I really am curious in what you guys think of me painting kind of such a goofball, oddball kind of a thing as this. If you like it, cool. I'm kind of giggling here. So I obviously like it. I like doing this kind of thing. If I were left to my own recognizance, as they say, and you can see by the drawings that I have, or you can see if you want me to show you the drawings that I have. I do lots of crazy, kooky things like this. I don't necessarily do it on YouTube here, or I don't necessarily do it on a Wednesday, because I'm never quite sure how it's going to be accepted, and that's okay. But if you guys think it's fun or funny, I'm totally willing to do more of these. For me, like I said, for me, this is a fun thing to do. There, that might look a little better. I don't know. Get a couple extra bigger lines in there or something. I don't know. Vermeer obviously had it wrong. No, he didn't obviously have it wrong. I just didn't have it right. I think that's what's going on there. A couple of extra marks here. So there's a little lighter than I wanted, but it's okay. It's okay. It's very light in that. That's light, but it's okay. I love her jawline here. I really like the blue underneath. It's really dark. Her head's pointed down like that. That her jaw is. I think you can paint anything. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you. I might just do that. In fact, if I do some more bigger, crazier paintings like this, I mean, this is not very big. This is 8 by 10 or 9 by 11, something like that. If I do something bigger than this, it might be that I have to do it over several nights, right? So it might be a month of paintings or something like that. And you can join in and see where I'm at any stage of the process. So I just, before I change my format and before I do something that's kooky or crazy, not that it's necessarily going to stop me from doing it, but I'd be curious to hear what you all have to say about it, because you're in the journey too. Right, we're kind of on this watercolor journey together. This is kind of the way I look at it. I might be doing a little bit more of the painting on Wednesday night, at least at 7 o'clock at night, but we're all here together, so I can't quite get enough paint on here. I want to make this darker. Just give me something darker. Not quite. It didn't, I don't know, this tiny little area. It's not blending quite like I want. Take a little bit more light off there. Okay, cool. That's more of what I want. Now I'll put a string up there. Is that dry? I can get to her other eye now. All right, well, see, we're moving along. Look, we're getting there. So Dwayne's voting for... be careful what you're voting for, Dwayne. There's an eye, and as long as I'm here, I'm going to give a little bit more eye edge. A little more black edge around this other eye. I'm just going to continue to twist my page as I think it needs to go, or as I think I need to get into all these little nooks and crannies. That's still dry. Yeah. Here we go. All right, a little, not necessarily a highlight per se, but a lighter area in there. Can I get any dark in here? No, I cannot. It's at a weird stage. All right, now I do want to. I have to get a fine brush. All right, I have to get a fine brush. So her eye really isn't done yet. Her eye is not, even this one, well, obviously her eye is not done yet. But if you look at an eye, right, there are always little lines around your eye, right? Whatever these are called. I want to put a little bit of those on her. She looks angry now. Oh, she does look a little angry, doesn't she? She does look a little angry. See, I didn't necessarily do that. So I wonder what mood I was in when I drew her. I have to say, I have looked at this drawing. I had this drawing, and I should have shown you before. The original drawing, it looks very, it's my own drawing, but it looks like that. Very similar to that is underneath here. And I just took an eraser, right? Whatever this is, a plastic eraser. I don't know what. And went brrr, and deleted her face off of there and drew in some alien features. Maybe that's why she's a little upset. It's possible. She's coming out as being a little angry because she's been her image has been modified a little bit. She does look a little angry, doesn't she? You know what? It's the pout. It's the pout. It's that little pout right there that makes her look just a slight bit angry. Let's see. Do I have white? I do have white. I have my gouache. So I'm going to there's her little earring ring. No. That's the hangy down bit from her earring. There's no chance I'm doing the Saturn rings with this. I'm going to try it with this. I've got an old painting up here. Okay, cool. So let's see. Big one in front. Saturn! Ta-da! Thank you, Sino Uniball. Thank you for that. You've made my job a little bit easier. It's just no way I was going to be able to do that. I should have done that bit. But I honestly, I don't like to do a whole lot with the pen. I want to try to be able to do it with paint. I think it's just nicer. Unfortunately, coffee gets in the way, and sometimes I can't do as good a job as I want. Blame it on coffee. Just blame it on coffee. Whose fault is it? Oh, it's coffee's. No big deal. Just coffee's fault. Okay. That eye looks like it got away from me a little bit, doesn't it? Well, might be a little late now. It goes up a little higher than that one. That's probably a bad drawing. Let's blame that on a bad draw. That was my fault. Not her fault. A little highlight here. I was going to give her something on her nose right there, but there's no real nose to give her a highlight on. She does. I don't like that she looks angry now. I don't want her to be mad. She definitely looks put out to be sitting for this painting, for sure. I'm going to sign it. We still have a little bit to do on that eye. But let's talk about a couple of things first. Where did my pointer brush go to? Okay, cool. So some of the things I really like about this are, I love this color here. I love this. Her whole jacket down here, I absolutely adore. I think it's fantastic. And the white up here, I like it. Darker back here, lighter, a little color on it. It's not white. I like the band on her turban here. I actually like it better now that I extended these out a little bit. I know that's not how the Renaissance master did it. Did it better than me, let's be honest. But that's okay. I like these. It gives a more of a, like a stretched out look. I like this top part. I like some of this. This is really light in that reference photo. I don't think I quite got it right. And I'm looking at it. I don't think this dark is out of bounds. I think it's just not. It's not quite right. Something's not quite right there. But I don't think it looks bad. And then I got this blue down here that I admittedly screwed up, but I tried to fix it a little bit. So it's got a little blue at the tips here, and you can see this does look like it's in front of that, which kind of looks like it's in front of that. So we do have a little bit of layering there. I love her cheek here and her jaw and her jawline, the neck underneath gets a little lighter right here, which allows Saturn to be seen a little bit more. And honestly, I don't like that she looks, I don't know that she looks angry, but I think put out is a little more appropriate. But I don't like that because I don't want her to be. I think I'm making her a story, and she's had a bad day, and she's had to come and sit down for some kooky watercolor artist to be able to paint her, and she's just not having it. Right? Even back in the whenever she was painted in this, she probably would rather be looking at the social media of the day rather than sitting down in a studio with me waiting to be painted. So I'm going to blame it. I'm going to take the blame on this one. It's all on me. She's not wild about the artist who's doing the painting. It's not the painting itself or not. She's not angry. She's just emotionless. but I'm going to tell you, when I look at this, it does kind of make me giggle. And I don't think I did a bad take on that. I think this is pretty close. I actually think this is pretty close. Our whole turban is pretty close. I don't think it's a bad take at all. I like her little nose, right? I love the fact that it's subtle, but it's dark here, and then light where her nose is, and then darker over here. So you can just see a little bit of a ridge line on her nose, or what's the bump in your nose? I don't know, whatever you call your nose. Again, anatomy never was my thing. Oh, hey, Dory, look, Dory's making an appearance. So I'm actually tickled with it. I think it's a good effort for this. I think it's going to set up some of the next ones we're going to do. The other ones are quite a bit bigger, right? Well, this is 9 by 12, so they're double this size. So I'm torn on whether I want to do that in this session and spread it to 2 or maybe even 3, or if I want to do something else, because I kind of don't like the leaving it hanging for a week. That, I don't know. I have to think about that. Next week, though, I will not be here. 99% certain, because I will be turning out great, freaky great thing. That's fine. I'm okay with that. It's supposed to be whimsical and funny. Next week, I will be on a business trip and likely away. I promise. I will put something in the community channel on YouTube. I'll put something in the community on Twitch, and I will put something in Discord for everybody to see. I won't leave everybody hanging again. My great apologies for that. That's all I've got for you this week. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Really had a great time this Wednesday. Great to see you too, Dwayne. I hope you are able to join me back here in 2 weeks when we do this all over again, and we'll do something else fun then. Until then, have a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.